Caught my girlfriend of 6 years cheating with my friend on her birthday. He gives me more attention, she defensively claimed. After confronting her, I found a graphic story about him and realized I was living a lie. Now I'm left wondering, was I ever really loved? So I discovered that my girlfriend of 6 years was unfaithful to me with someone I believed was a friend on her birthday. On the morning of her birthday, while she was getting ready, I checked her phone, which was in her game room with an alarm sounding, so I went to turn it off. Previously, I had noticed her and my so-called friend playing Fortnite quite a bit together without me. He is best friends with her cousin, and we usually played the game together. I began to pick up on them being more friendly than I was comfortable with. We had all been planning a vacation together, among other things. I expressed to her that I felt uneasy about how they continually texted each other to play games without me. Of course, she became defensive, telling me not to be insecure or that I had nothing to worry about. A couple of weeks passed and her birthday arrived. I checked her phone due to that gut feeling I had. It turned out that my instinct was correct. I discovered they had been secretly flirting back and forth behind my back. Keep in mind, I purchased her phone, she lives with me, I pay all the bills, and I take care of her. I was heartbroken and in shock. I skimmed through the messages, unsure of how to react. I approached her while still reading the texts, and she appeared pale when she saw me on her phone. The moment I confronted her, she immediately went into defense mode and began blaming me. She said some very hurtful things, but because I know she has some mental issues inherited from her mother, I often don't take some of her comments seriously, as she usually apologizes for her behavior even though they hurt a lot. She defended him, claiming he gives her more attention and is nice talking nonsense that I didn't care about. I was furious. I couldn't imagine what might have happened if we had gone on vacation together. She even mentioned that she would still go if I was unable to do to work or other commitments. I was overwhelmed with emotions but tried to remain calm. I never wanted to hurt anyone more in my life than I did him. I felt betrayed by both my partner and a friend simultaneously. We discussed the situation and like a fool, I still wanted to be with her since things had not escalated to a physical level between them. She had only known him for about a month at most, and it was all strictly text and gaming. I set boundaries, demanding she cut off all contact with him, and although she initially resisted, she eventually blocked his number in front of me. However, I was uncertain if she had him on any social media, which I neglected to ask about. While she complied with my request, I couldn't tell if it was genuinely to salvage our relationship or simply to appease me. We continued the day as if nothing had happened, although I was heartbroken. That night, I discovered she changed all her passwords on her devices and turned off her location. We had always shared our locations, so for her to do that after I caught her cheating was astonishing. Her excuse was that I was being too controlling and she needed some space. I started noticing her becoming distant, always texting on her phone while facing away from me so I couldn't see what she was doing, claiming it was just her friend. There was no more intimacy, she didn't respond to texts as quickly as she used to, and she was very vague about where she was going and what she was doing. Sometimes she would come home late after being out with her cousin's girlfriend. She began going out more frequently alone with someone she claimed was either her cousin's girlfriend or another friend, and she would get angry and start petty arguments over nothing. Overall, she made me feel like a nuisance, despite my efforts to show her my love and regain her attention. Moreover, I found a story about a sexual dream she had written down in her notes, which sounded like it was about him. What pointed me toward him was a line where she wrote, "We were in what I imagine your room looked like, and you covered my mouth to keep me quiet so your mother didn't hear me moaning." It was an extremely graphic story that concluded with her mentioning that it was just a dream and she awoke very aroused. This did not sit well with me. She claimed it was merely a random dream for a book she wanted to write since she had been telling me for the past year or two that she was working on a graphic-type book. About a week and a half ago, she left for Atlanta for a Braves baseball game, saying it would be a girls' night with her two friends. She mostly ignored me that day, and they ended up staying overnight since the game finished late and we live about 2 hours away from Atlanta. Given the recent cheating incident, I was uncomfortable with her staying overnight, but she went ahead anyway. Since I still had this guy on my PlayStation network as a friend, I noticed he was the only one offline among our gaming group. Since I knew his work schedule, I was aware he was off that Friday, which seemed suspicious. My mind started racing with thoughts that she might be with him in Atlanta, so I made the regrettable decision to turn on her old phone to check her location, and I foolishly went to the hotel to see if my gut was right. Long story short, he was there. I saw him pull up to the front door and park to check out. I could have sworn I saw my girlfriend in the passenger seat, but I was not 100% sure. As I drove by to confirm if it was actually him, he started speeding away from me. I didn't chase him, but he sped off regardless. I texted my girlfriend to ask if she was with him, unaware of my presence there, and she said no. She insisted she didn't know he was there, but it didn't make sense that he was in Atlanta checking out of the same hotel as her on the same night. She told her family that I followed her, but I doubt she mentioned why or that I discovered she cheated on me. She denies being with him. I genuinely believed I saw her in his passenger seat as they pulled up to the front office, and when I got next to him, I didn't see anyone, though the seat looked reclined all the way back. I never saw her exit the hotel where she claimed she was with her two female friends. Additionally, she lied about the room layout of the hotel she stayed at, saying they had a two-bedroom with one couch and that she slept on the couch. However, I verified that they only had rooms with one king bed and one couch or two queen beds available. She hasn't shown me any proof that she was with her friends, no pictures from the game or anything, especially since her cousin's girlfriend always takes pictures of everything whenever we all hang out. It has been a month today since her birthday, and she just returned from a family trip in Florida with her parents, showing up with a random promise ring. She claimed she got it for herself, but there was no real explanation for why she purchased it. I've been wondering if she is still in contact with this guy and whether he sent her money to buy it because of my lack of trust. She dislikes discussing the situation, and we still have not had a full sit-down talk to address the problem together. Instead, she tends to avoid the conversation entirely while I'm still trying to figure out why it happened, if it's still ongoing, and if I'm genuinely wasting my time trying to stay with her. She often displays a hot and cold attitude, being very mean to me, ignoring my texts while I could see her actively chatting with others due to her Snapchat score rising quickly, then apologizing for how she acted, only to revert back to being nice and loving in a back-and-forth pattern. I am reaching the point where I don't know if I should just kick her out of my house and grieve the loss of this relationship. She is the love of my life, and we had all these plans and goals to accomplish together, including marriage, starting a family, and achieving success in life. I have made countless sacrifices for her and feel emotionally drained from all that I experience every day. It feels like a roller coaster. I will be happy for a brief moment, then descend into depression and tears. It would devastate me to discover she is merely using me as a roof over her head while being unfaithful and continuing her secret relationship with him. She claims not to talk to him anymore, but I honestly don't know what to believe anymore. She hasn't made any effort to regain my trust by demonstrating that she is no longer in contact with him. I still leave my location on so she can see where I am, but hers remains off. Additionally, she has thrown accusations of infidelity towards me a few times without evidence, as if she is trying to provoke me into confessing to something I haven't done. 3 nights ago, she told me that someone on Facebook, who is either a family member or close friend of mine, informed her they saw me with another girl in my truck. My girlfriend did not want to disclose who said that because they didn't want to have any issues with me. I asked her to show me the proof, but she claimed she deleted the messages, so she could not show me. It hurt tremendously that she would accuse me of doing something like that to her when I have only ever had my eyes on her. The promise ring has been troubling me, as it seems strange that she got one and wears it constantly, while I noticed that when I got her a ring or any jewelry, she rarely wore them. Yet this one must stay on her finger where a wedding ring would go. Is this a sign she is taking things more seriously with him and just using me, or am I simply being paranoid and delusional? I honestly cannot think clearly anymore. She keeps playing mind games with me, and the hot and cold behavior is wearing me down because I would take a bullet for this girl, but I don't know if she is completely emotionally detached from me after everything. She calls me crazy, toxic, and controlling. I also threatened the guy after discovering the truth, and he informed her cousin, so now her cousin does not like me anymore. I'm unsure if her family is aware of the whole story as she continues to play the victim. She has never taken responsibility for her actions or apologized for them. I want to confront this guy for disrespecting me and manipulating me while attempting to win over my girlfriend behind my back. They have made me lose hope in ever having genuine friendships and authentic love. I genuinely feel lost in my life right now, having distanced myself from my family for her since she never liked my family due to issues caused by them. Should I just end things and kick her out, or should I try to understand what is happening? By the way, the guy has mentioned he wants to file charges against me for threatening him, but I'm uncertain if he will follow through with it. His behavior infuriates me. How can he pursue his friend's girlfriend? Interestingly, this all happened to him in his past relationship, and it's bizarre how he is now doing to me exactly what was done to him. Update: I kicked her out, took her phone, and tossed her belongings outside. It is not my responsibility to pack it neatly for her. I informed her parents as well, just in case they were curious about why she is moving back in with them, out of respect for them since they treated me like their own son. Story 2. Caught my girlfriend of 6 years cheating with my so-called friend on her birthday. You have nothing to worry about, she said, but after confronting her, I found a graphic sex dream about him. Now she's back with a promise ring. I just her safety net. I discovered that my girlfriend of 6 years was unfaithful to me with someone I believed was a friend on her birthday. I ended up checking her phone on the morning of her special day while she was getting ready. Her phone was in her game room with an alarm sounding, so I went to turn it off. Previously, I had noticed her and my so-called friend playing Fortnite together frequently without me. He is best friends with her cousin, and we typically played the game together. I started noticing that their interactions seemed friendlier than I was comfortable with. We had all discussed planning a vacation together, and I expressed to her that I was uneasy about how often they communicated to play the game without me. Naturally, she became defensive, telling me not to be insecure and that I had nothing to worry about. After a couple of weeks, her birthday approached, and I checked her phone because of my gut feeling. Unfortunately, my instincts were correct, and I found that they had been secretly flirting with each other behind my back. It is important to note that I bought her phone, she lives with me, and I pay all the bills and support her. I was understandably heartbroken and in disbelief. As I skimmed through the messages, I felt uncertain about how to react. I approached her while still looking at her texts, and she turned pale when she realized I was on her phone. The moment I confronted her, she immediately went into defense mode and began blaming me. She said some extremely hurtful things, but knowing that she has some mental health issues inherited from her mother, I tend to not take some of her comments seriously, as she usually apologizes for her behavior despite the hurt they cause. Regardless, she defended him, saying he gave her more attention and was nicer, which I found infuriating. I could not imagine what might have transpired if we had gone on vacation together. She even mentioned that she would still go if I were unable to attend due to work or other commitments. I was overwhelmed with emotion yet managed to remain calm. I had never wanted to hurt someone more in my life than I did him. I felt betrayed by both my partner and a friend simultaneously. We discussed it, and like a fool, I still wanted to remain with her since it had not escalated to anything physical between them, considering she had only known him for a month at most. Their interactions had only been texts and gaming. I established my boundaries by insisting she cut off all contact with him. Although she initially resisted and said no, ultimately she blocked his number in front of me. However, I was uncertain if she had him on any social media, and I neglected to ask. While she did what I requested, I remained skeptical about whether it was genuinely to mend our relationship or merely to silence me. We continued our day as if nothing had happened, even though I felt devastated. That night, I discovered she changed all of her passwords on her devices and turned off her location. We had always shared our locations, so her actions following my discovery of her infidelity felt alarming. Her excuse was that I was being too controlling and she needed space. I began to notice her becoming more distant, always on her phone and positioning it so I could not see what she was doing, claiming it was just her friend. There was a significant decline in intimacy, and she no longer responded to my texts as quickly as she used to. She became vague about her whereabouts and activities, came home late at times when she was out with her cousin's girlfriend, and started spending more time alone with other friends, escalating her anger into petty arguments over trivial matters. She made me feel like a nuisance, despite my efforts to demonstrate my love and win back her attention. Additionally, I found a graphic story about a sexual dream written in her notes that seemed to be about him. What led me to believe it was him was her line about us being in what I imagined his room looked like, and her mentioning how he covered her mouth to keep her quiet so his mom would not hear her moaning. The story was very explicit and concluded with her expressing that it was unfortunate it was just a dream, and she woke up very aroused. That did not sit well with me. She claimed it was merely a random dream for a book she wanted to write, since she had been telling me for the past year or two that she was working on a graphic novel. About a week and a half ago, she left for Atlanta to attend a Braves baseball game that she claimed was a girls' night out with two of her friends. She mostly ignored me throughout the day, and they ended up staying the night since the game concluded late, and we live about 2 hours from Atlanta. Given my previous experiences of being deceived regarding her infidelity, I was uncomfortable with the idea of her staying overnight, but she did so regardless. I still had this guy on my PlayStation network, and I noticed he was the only one not online among the other players. His absence felt suspicious since I was aware of his work schedule, and he was off that Friday. My mind raced with thoughts that she might be with him in Atlanta, so I impulsively turned on her old phone to check her location. In a moment of poor judgment, I drove to the hotel to see if my instincts were correct. To make a long story short, he was indeed there. I witnessed him pull up to the front door and park before going inside to check out. I thought I saw my girlfriend in the passenger seat, but I cannot be certain. As I drove up beside him to confirm it was him, he abruptly sped away. I messaged my girlfriend, asking if she was with him, unaware that I was there, and she denied it. She claimed she was unaware he was in Atlanta, but it made no sense why he would be checking out of the same hotel as her that same night. She informed her family that I had followed her, but I doubt she disclosed the full story or the fact that I discovered her cheating. She maintains she was not with him. I still believed I caught a glimpse of her in his passenger seat when they pulled up to the hotel, but I did not witness her exit. Additionally, she lied about the layout of the hotel room, stating they had a two-bedroom with one couch and she slept on the couch, while my fact-checking revealed they only had rooms with either one king bed and a couch or two queens with no couch. Furthermore, she has not produced any proof of her being with her friends, such as pictures of them at the game, especially considering her cousin's girlfriend typically takes numerous pictures whenever we are all together. It has been a month since her birthday, and she recently returned from a family trip with her parents in Florida, presenting me with an arbitrary promise ring. She claimed to have purchased it for herself, but provided no context for its significance. I am left wondering if she is still in contact with this guy, or if he funded the ring. My distrust continues to grow due to her pattern of avoidance regarding our issues, as we have yet to engage in an open conversation where we thoroughly discuss our problems. She consistently tries to evade discussions altogether while I grapple with unresolved questions about why this occurred, whether it is ongoing, and if I am wasting my time attempting to maintain our relationship. Her hot and cold demeanor, shifting from being cruel to apologetic, is taking its toll on me. I would take a bullet for her, but I am uncertain if she has emotionally detached herself from me after everything. She disparages me as crazy, toxic, and controlling. I previously threatened the guy after discovering the truth, and he informed her cousin, resulting in her cousin disliking me. I am uncertain what her family knows about the situation as she continues to present herself as the victim. She has never taken accountability for her actions or apologized for them. I feel an overwhelming urge to confront the individual who has wronged me, feeling deceived and manipulated right before my eyes as he pursued my girlfriend behind my back. This experience has shattered my faith in genuine friendship and love. I find myself utterly lost in my life at present, having distanced myself from my family for her sake, as she expressed discontent with my family due to past issues for which they were at fault. Should I end this relationship and ask her to leave, or should I continue to seek clarity about what is happening? By the way, the guy has threatened to pursue legal action against me for my earlier threat, but I remain skeptical as to whether he will follow through with it. It is infuriating to see someone trying to take advantage of his friend's girlfriend. Ironically, he experienced a similar betrayal in a previous relationship, yet he is now inflicting the same pain on someone else. Update: I kicked her out, took the phone, and moved her belongings outside. It was not my responsibility to pack them up neatly for her. Also, I informed her parents to respect them, in case they were curious as to why she was returning home. A Story 3. At 18, I had a thrilling encounter with a 41-year-old who lured me into her van, teasing, "If you keep being a good boy, I might let you stick it in." I took her baby blue panties but threw them away in a panic. What was I thinking? Just a glimpse of childhood innocence betrayed. So I am not much of a writer, but I will try my best. At the time, I had just graduated from high school at the age of 18, and now I am currently 30 years old. I was dating a girl whom I will refer to as Anna for about a year, and she had just moved in with me and a few roommates. Everything was wonderful, we had sex frequently, and I was happy. However, our sex life was rather mediocre. Since we were each other's first partners, we did not really know how to explore and experiment with one another, which led to things becoming boring quite quickly. So behind her back, I began searching for excitement online. I downloaded an application called Meet Me and eventually connected with an attractive older woman who was 41 years old and lived just 2 miles away. We started chatting, and I kept telling her about my girlfriend, how I was already feeling bored with her, and how strongly I desired to try something new. She mentioned that the thought of a young 18-year-old willing to cheat on his girlfriend for her older woman's body made her feel excited. She would send me photos of her legs spread wide, teasing me every day for about 3 weeks. She drove me wild, and I was so eager that I would make videos of myself climaxing and send them to her. She would respond by calling me a good boy. Then one day, she told me that she wanted to meet in the Home Depot parking lot, which was around the corner from where I lived. She wanted to spend time with someone during her lunch break and instructed me to get into the back seat of her van when I arrived, as she drove a minivan commonly associated with soccer moms. I told my girlfriend that I needed to go pick something up from Home Depot, which worked out perfectly since she disliked that store. I quickly headed to Home Depot and located the van. When I opened the door and climbed in, I was absolutely stunned. She was sitting there with her legs spread open, wearing baby blue panties and a cute pair of pink Nike socks. I do not know why I remember that detail, but I do. She informed me that she wanted me to taste her wet vagina, but first I had to smell the panties she had been wearing at work all morning. She removed them and handed them to me. I took them and inhaled deeply. Her scent was truly intoxicating, the sweetest and most incredible aroma ever. I could detect her natural scent, but it was alluring. I immediately became completely aroused and begged to taste her. She then beckoned me closer with her finger and guided my face right into her intimate area. She tasted absolutely amazing. Then she grabbed me by the hair and began grinding her body all over my tongue. I felt like I was going to climax in my pants because I had never tasted anything like that before, and I loved it. She continued to grind against my face until she squirted, and I eagerly licked it up. I asked her if I could penetrate her, and she smiled, saying, "Nope, I just needed you to make me climax, good boy." She kissed me on the lips and added that she could taste her body on my lips. I protested, pointing at my erection and saying, "But look at my condition." Then she replied, "Let me see how hard you are for me." Without hesitation, I pulled out my 18-year-old self and she took hold of it, looking into my eyes, then slowly down at my member. She spit on it and began to stroke it while saying, "If you keep being a good boy, then one day I might let you enter me. Now get out of my van, I need to return to work." So I put myself away and exited the van, starting my walk home with a significant erection, trying to reduce it before arriving home to my girlfriend. I attempted to meet up with her several more times after that, but it never materialized. She continued to tease me with pictures. Then one day she asked to meet during her lunch break when I was 21, but I was late and did not arrive in time before her break ended. She became upset and blocked me from everything, and I have not heard from her since. Since then, I have experienced many intimate moments, but none have compared to hers. I should mention that she allowed me to keep the baby blue panties she was wearing, but on my way home, I became anxious about being caught, so I discarded them in a dumpster before reaching home. That remains the biggest regret of my life.